So welcome to this third season of Season the Scholar. And today we have got none other than the editor-in-chief of ES&T Letters, Professor Bryan Brooks. As you know that in the introduction, we keep the secret of the achievements and everything. So you can find in the description as well as at the end of the video. So welcome, Bryan. It is a great pleasure and honor to have you on this program.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I look forward to our conversation this evening, or this morning, rather.
So when did you tell yourself, yes, I am going to do PhD, and how did you make that decision?
Well, it's real interesting, right? Because I would say about a year into the master's, and again, it's a little bit more common now to go right from the bachelor's into the PhD program, but back then it was more common to go into the master's first. And sometimes we would like to think of the master's degree as you're kind of dating the field. You know, you have not had
Yes.
the more permanent commitment of the marriage proposition or something, right? And so I would say that I was really undecided until probably the middle of the master's, and I was really getting involved with the research. And it's interesting that you asked this question, because at the end of the master's, and the first year of the PhD, I went to a scientific conference of Society of Environmental Toxicology and Chemistry, and a colleague said, "So why are you going to do a PhD?" And I said, "Well, I think it's the piece of paper that I need to receive to continue to do what I want to do, and that's to ask questions." I really enjoyed, immersing yourself into the scientific process. I liked the questioning and the applied problem solving elements in particular. And so it was as simple as that, is that I let my interest and my curiosity take me on this ride. And I didn't even think about, okay, job prospects, or would I go into academia or government or business, or I was hooked on the excitement of science, and the curiosity that I think naturally had was really starting to blossom at that point.
Very great, and I love the dating part. And in many ways, most of the dating converts into the marriage by doing PhD. But once you decide that I am going to do PhD, then the big question is from where and with whom, and on what subject or topic. How did you choose? Found the answer of these three?
Yeah. Well, I knew I wanted to stay in the aquatic sciences, and I really wanted to get more experience in the environmental toxicology, environmental chemistry arenas. And so as I was reading, I came across different people, okay, that were working on topics that were of interest. I was also talking with other colleagues and other professors. The pesticide mixture wetland study that I was describing actually had a number of universities, and it was a large consortium project. I think there were 10 or 12 PIs and like 40 graduate students. It was a very large endeavor, multiple universities, institutes. And so, so I kind of asked around and said, "Hey, I'm interested in this. Do you have any suggestions?" But I actually came across the names of the people that I primarily reached out to based on what I was reading. And this is where serendipity, I think, sometimes is underappreciated in science. So there's a guy named Tom LaPointe who was working on streams, okay, and contamination in streams. And so Tom was really fantastic, and he had recently moved with a research institute from Clemson University to Texas Tech University. And so it was, again, a large institute and department moved basically halfway across the United States. And so what ended up happening there is I went out and I met with him, and I was really interested in some of the stream work he was doing with contamination. And as I was there, I started learning more and more about some of the arid water issues, and some of these aquatic systems that were really only flowing because of effluent discharges. And so, as it turns out, after only one semester, Tom took a position as an institute director at a different university. in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas called University of North Texas. And it turns out that sort of the fellow that if I had not ran into Tom that I really wanted to work with was already at the University of North Texas, Ken Dixon. And there was also another very famous aquatic toxicologist there, Tom Waller, some really other outstanding scientists, Jim Kennedy. And so I went with Tom as he moved just after a few months at Texas Tech to go to the University of North Texas and then pursued the PhD in environmental science. So I made a conscious decision not to go to a university based upon its national ranking. I was going to work with someone based upon my interest, the alignment with their intellectual tradition, the trajectory of their research activities as it aligned with my interest. And so I was fortunate that, much like my undergraduate mentor kind of took a chance on a curious neophyte, that my PhD advisor in Tom also took me on. But then I kind of felt like at times I had three PhD advisors because I got to work with Ken Dixon, who was really influential in helping to establish different types of scientific endeavors in the United States, and even uh, was one of the co-editors of the first Pelston workshop, which ultimately continued to develop, and the Society of Environmental Toxicology and Chemistry came from that activity. And then I also mentioned Tom Waller. So I was really fortunate to be able to go into an institute, working with an institute director, but also almost having a primary advisor and a couple of other really strong, kind of, at least in the United States, very, very recognized and well-regarded scientists to be like additional mentors for me.